All right, you're going to have to lead me and our listeners through how one quote unquote transitions. Like, I don't understand the medical side and then the surgery side. Could you lead us from how that began and what the effects were and what that was like?
Yeah. So there's two elements of transitioning. There's a social transition, which is like changing your name, either like in socialization or legally, changing the way you present yourself, like through your hair, like stereotypical clothing of the opposite sex and such, like changing your mannerisms and stuff. And then there is the medical side of things, which for me, what that entailed was the puberty blockers, the testosterone, and eventually the surgery down the line. So I started with the puberty blockers at 13. I was probably about halfway through my 8th grade year. And it took less than, I think, like half a year between like my first conversation with a therapist to getting my first injection of those blockers. And when I was first referred to a endocrinologist, actually, me and my mom were told, no, we're not going to administer the hormones, but we could have you on blockers for a year. I think was the response. Basically saying like, it wasn't like a solid no, but it was like let's wait a year on this, because apparently he said like, you're not, I don't remember this. This is my, well, my mom recounts. Yeah. The doctor, she said that he said that I wasn't transitioned enough, whatever that would mean, right?
You weren't transitioning enough?
Yeah, I mean, it's all, I don't know if it was
like
just like
fast enough or...
I guess, and I think like it was based just on my social transition. Like I was calling myself a boy. I was wearing like boy clothes. Yeah. I guess.
What else do you want from me?
It's all based on stereotypes. Yeah. Who knows what it was? But nobody had ever really pushed back on the idea of me being a boy. It was only that one doctor who even remotely pushed back. And that was just wait a year.
Oh,
what difference will that make? Right. I think he cited like brain development concerns mostly.
Did that frustrate you that you had to wait longer?
I was sobbing during like halfway through that appointment, because I genuinely believed like I was being denied the care that I needed. And there are no other doctors in that point in my life who were like directing me who were guiding me to sanity at all.
Yeah.
Who were being like a rock for me or my mom and dad.
And what was your understanding of this, of the surgery that would happen? Like as your 12, 13-year-old brain was trying to fathom that, what did you think that involved?
The surgery, I mean, that's a little further down the line.
Okay. Oh, sorry. So what am I, maybe I misunderstood something. So you went from hormone blockers and testosterone?
I was immediately referred, the gender clinician or psychologist, I think, just immediately referred me to another doctor. People often accuse like my mom and dad of like doctor shopping. But what happened was that the psychologist who referred us to these endocrinologists was just like, okay, let's send you to another one. Like just that quick.
Yeah.
But after an appointment or two with that second endocrinologist, we signed off on the waivers. I was given the consent forms for the blockers and the testosterone.
Right, I'm sorry. That's right. So he didn't think you had social transitioned enough in order to be now taking this medication.
Yeah.
You got referred to a couple of other doctors.
Immediately afterward.
Okay. Then eventually you found a doctor who was willing to do it.
Yeah. And it was really rough starting on them. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I was pretty much in an artificially induced menopause. And you have to think about this. I was 13 years old. I was in 8th grade, and my body's endocrine system was basically just completely shut down. No sex hormone production at all. I had my last period for a few years until after I stopped the testosterone. It was very heavy. And eventually no menses anymore. No, not even a semblance of a cycle, which was already irregular for me because I was so young. I had only been having periods for about a year by this point in time. And I started experiencing the physical symptoms of having my hormones blocked. I was experiencing hot flashes. I was like uncontrollably like sweating and
you're
itching.
13, or 12, just to remind people at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was very lethargic. I didn't really have a whole lot of energy or motivation or really any feelings throughout the day. I just felt kind of numb. So of course I wanted to escape this. I hated this feeling. And I thought like, there's no going back from this. So, and I already had this idea in my mind that I was going to go on hormones anyways. So the next course of action was hormones. About a month later, I had to take injections at home every week for the rest of my life if I were to continue this. And that the switch from having no hormones at all in my body to all of a sudden taking like large male doses of sex hormones as a 13-year-old girl was insane. It was crazy. Like the change in my mood was almost immediate. Like there was that element, of course, of like me being excited, the gender euphoria or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Of feeling affirmed in my choices, in my identity, being on what I thought was the right path at the time, and eventually like telling my friends, my older friends about it, who were in high school at this point in time, or like my online friends about this, and being congratulated.
Yeah.
I thought like it was a huge step in my life, a huge step forward. And the physical changes and the emotional changes came very quickly. Like I immediately felt like a lot more confidence. I started developing a bit of a competitive streak with the boys my age.
Yeah. And you said this is overnight.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And one of the more difficult consequences of me being on it, behavioral consequences of it, was definitely the sex drive.
Okay. It just went through the roof, or what?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was already going through puberty, right? So it was already kind of high, and all of a sudden, like it was just uncontrollable. And I was experiencing this at 13 to 16 years old, and it got me into some pretty dangerous situations. It basically made me ripe for the picking by sexual predators on the internet because, I was a very lonely kid. I had like these really strong feelings at the time that I didn't really have like any real male guidance on how to deal with. Right. So I was very vulnerable. And if you think about it like this, I mean, women have these instincts they have these sexual instincts that are self-preserving, to help them pick like the best like life partner and to avoid like any danger that was gone.
A good father for their children, someone who's nurturing and strong and protective.
Yes, that was all gone. So it got me into some pretty horrible situations over the years, and thank God nothing physical ever happened to me. But there were a few times when people, like adult men, almost had met up with me. So I was in a lot of danger during that point in time, and they don't address that during the consultations. Of course, they say like, oh, you'd experience like things like your hairline will change, you're gonna have more body hair, you're gonna have more muscle. They talk about it like mostly in a positive light, and they say like, oh, and you're gonna have like a heightened sex drive. They don't talk about what that actually entails. And these are women that were these were women that were prescribing me. It was a woman that was prescribing me this medication. So of course, she's not gonna know what that's actually like. It was just a horrible set of circumstances. I
want to tell you about Hallow, which is the #1 downloaded prayer app in the world. It's outstanding. Hallow.com/Matt Fradd. Sign up over there right now and you will get the first 3 months for free. That's like a lot of time. You can decide whether it's useful to you or not, whether it's helpful. If you don't like it, you can always quit. Hallow.com/MattFradd. I use it. My family uses it. It's fantastic. There are over 10,000 audio guided prayers, meditations, and music, including my lo-fi. Hallow has been downloaded over 15 million times in 150 different countries. It helps you pray, helps you meditate, helps you sleep better. It helps you build a daily routine and a habit of prayer. There's honestly so much excellent stuff on this app that it's difficult to get through it all. Just go check it out. Hallow.com/MattFradd. The link is in the description below. It even has an entire section for kids. So if you're a parent, you could play little Bible stories to them at night. It'll help them pray. Fantastic. Hallow.com/MattFradd.